Temtem tried to kill Pokemon. It failed. Power World tried to kill Pokemon, and it failed. And now Digimon is failing. I don't even know because, like, anybody who seriously thinks Digimon is gonna come out of nowhere and suddenly be bigger than Pokemon are just completely and utterly delusional, right? Digimon has had a ton of problems becoming, uh, continuing its relevancy outside of Japan, considering what they did with the anime and the TCG and the video games. Like, who do you know who's even played a Digimon video game? And yet we're supposed to believe that it's supposed to be better than Pokemon. I'll tell you what's going to happen because it's the same thing that's been happening for the past like 30 years is that Pokemon is going to stomp Digimon to the ground and nobody's even going to know it exists, you know? Like this is the same problem that all these people have had over the past couple of years. You can't just prop up random monster collecting RPGs, pit them against Pokemon and expect them to come out on top. You know, it's just not going to work out for you at all. Like Digimon can't do it, Yokai Watch couldn't do it. Like Power World isn't going to be able to do it. You know, the reality is Pokemon keeps putting out highly successful games on a shoestring budget every 3 years. So like I don't know when we can expect a new Digimon game, but even if like the new one was some massive monumental success, like it's very unlikely that a follow-up would recapture that success because of just how all over the place Digimon is as a brand. Like Digimon is not going to magically do better than Pokemon because a bunch of autismos on 4chan just started screaming about how it should. Now, I don't want to blame Digimon for this mindset because to my observation, they haven't like enabled this behavior. It's not part of their marketing strategy. It's not really something that they bring up at all. Like, I don't want to condemn the Digimon developers. Like, for me, in my opinion, like watching all this play out, you know, considering like Temtem, Power World, this are all coming from like completely different developers. Like, they the people enabling this kind of mindset, the people who are ranting and raving about how much they hate Pokemon, they don't love these games. They just hate Pokemon and want to see it fail. And that's the reoccurring thing we see all the time when it comes to Nintendo hate is that none of these games that they throw up against Nintendo, games like Expedition 33 or Silk Song or Astrobot, like Sonic Racing's Cross World, like these are not games that anyone's gonna remember or talk about even like 6 months after release. You know, like they come out, they get hyped up, they get worshipped, and then they're immediately discarded for the next thing. You know, that is the reoccurring pattern that we've been seeing with this like Nintendo hate slop since like probably the 90s, honestly. Like they just have this strategy of just kind of throwing all of these options at you and expecting that you won't take the time to play everything that comes out and come to the perfectly valid conclusion that Nintendo's offerings are just better than all the competition combined. You know, like it's been that way for a long time. You know, one of the primary arguments regarding the Switch 2 has been this idea that the console is a failure because there's no games to play, and yet, people who have engaged with it know that this thing has like all these different options. It has all these cool new games coming out all the time, and yet we're just supposed to like ignore that because like, well, like they're just not good enough, bro, and there's just it's just a giant cope, and it always has been. And meanwhile, the same people who are complaining about Pokemon Legends EA not being up to snuff are hyping up something like Digimon. And Digimon doesn't seem to have anything going for it at all. Like people just keep hyping it up, and yet at the same time, well, is it as much fun to play? Like that's kind of my mindset, like looking at this. Like what actually is the gameplay of the new Digimon? Like what do you actually do in it? How does it compete against EA? Is it going to be interesting? Is it going to draw people in? Is it gonna like revitalize the brand? Is it like an innovator? Like what does it do exactly? But no, no, nobody talks about the game itself at all. It's entirely like the hype around it entirely centers around the idea that it's better than Pokemon Legends ZA. And that is something that I do think should be condemned in the community. Like I don't want to hear this again. Like I don't want to hear like random third party games being propped up as being better than Nintendo because like you have to sell people on these games based on their own merits. This is like Sonic the Hedgehog, like how Sonic is like, oh, he's the fastest thing alive. He's way faster than Mario. He's a way better video game character, and yet the games aren't as good, right? Like Sonic's hype was entirely astroturfed by marketers and like retarded grade schoolers. Like that was Sonic the Hedgehog, and that mindset continues to this day with Sonic Racing Crossworlds fans thinking that 13,000 players on Steam is somehow impressive. It's embarrassing to see like how many people have bent over backwards to try and like uh pretend that Crossworlds is some massive success, but the same can be true said for like Digimon, right? Like it's basically the the Pokemon equivalent of Sonic now, right? It's just the same nonsense of just hyping this thing up as being, oh, it's so cool, bro. Digimon are so much. They have so many different evolutions, man, and they're so edgy, and they have guns, and like it's just a giant cope. Like the reality is Digimon is not as well thought out of a brand as Pokemon. It's never had a consistent identity. It's never been able to build up an audience outside of people who grew up with the anime. It's never been able to like kind of distinguish itself from Pokemon, other than being its primary competitor. The majority of Digimon fans, I would argue, like pretty much all of them, have played Pokemon in some capacity, and you can't say the same thing like for the other way around. Like most Pokemon fans, myself included, have never seriously engaged with a Digimon game, and it's not because I'm not interested, because I was actually like fairly curious about like what the brand was like and want to engage with it, but like there are just no really good options to get into it. Like I don't think Digimon has really established itself as something that could reasonably compete with Pokemon. Like because honestly, when I think of like a Digimon video game, I would expect something like more like the anime, like something like, where you actually do like the virtual pet like raising and you bond with it and you get to like slowly gradually unlock like higher forms. That's how I would want to do it, but like these days like they seem to be going like for the generic RPG route where you just get the monsters and you use them in battles, and like I don't necessarily think that's what the brand should be. Like it's like completely in value it completely goes against like everything I liked about Digimon, as someone who grew up like as a huge fan of the anime, is that like I liked the whole notion that like you had one partner Digimon that you had to bond with to like unlock its powers. Like, I thought it took the whole like monster angle like in a different direction than Pokemon. But the way it looks now, it just seems as if it's like a generic JRPG. And there's nothing really wrong with that because I love RPGs, but at the same time, it doesn't stick out. I would much rather play like other RPGs like Tales or Batten Kaitos. Like I have so many options. Like why would I go for Digimon over all of its competitors? Not just Pokemon. Pokemon is interesting because like there's really nothing else like it. Like it really does have this unique vibe, personality, gameplay loop, style, personality that other games just can't match. Like when I tried Digimon Cyber Sleuth, I was very surprised at how generic of an anime it felt like. Like it just felt like it didn't really have that feeling of being this fleshed out, interesting IP, as opposed to Pokemon, where you play Legends ZA and you see all these like reoccurring characters from Kalos, all these concepts, all these ideas expanded on. It's basically a sequel, like set in Lumios. Like it's interesting. Like with Digimon, like what do they do to like draw people in? Like like outside of nostalgia for the brand, what does Digimon do to stay relevant? And honestly, like I can't think of anything. Like the simple fact of the matter is, like this is just a repeat of what happened with Power World all over again. Is that this is a game that people are propping up to try and downplay Pokemon. Like that's all there is to it. These people are not Digimon fans. They just hate Pokemon.